Yeah. Right now we're at McFadden and Bristol, and let me get out of the way because the people who are beginning to gather here and they're just arriving, they're coming in from the Civic Center, from downtown, where you have the National Guard tanks and the setup there. So they were having rallies there, and people were trying to continue business in that area. All that in the middle of this, we had a bunch of protesters from the other side show up as we were talking to a woman from a pawn shop, and let's just listen to what it's like to have to deal with this as it's all going on and try to do business. Listen.
USA! USA! USA!
Did you ever imagine, algún día se imaginó que iba a tener al National Guard in front of you?
Never. This is the first.
The American people are waking up!
Came to get some lunch and we
Couldn't,
no.
We are going to establish law and order.
Is it changing how you do things to see all the images of, like, you were trying to come here for lunch, but
Right. Yeah, it does. It does.
in what way?
It does only because I feel like it's, you can't go to your local places.
The United States of America!
We have employees that, need to feed their families. We have a lot of people that come here to get paid to feed their families. And, if we're to close, if we are 1, 2, or 3 days, it's a huge impact for the employees that we have here. So.
Aside from the protests going on in front of you, are you also finding employees afraid to come to work because of the raid?
You know what? It's intense. It's not just here in Perla, but just in downtown in general. Whether you are legal or not legal, I think even the people who are legal are afraid to come out. I don't think it's a matter of a document. It's just, you see police, you see, the Marines out here, you see police, and you just don't want to be outside.
It's so frustrating and it's so unbelievable that I don't even have the words for it. It's just so.
Still trying to process this.
Honestly, yeah, because I know from here this is just the beginning. I know things are gonna happen from here. This is only the beginning.
And I want to emphasize at this point, the only businesses really being affected by this whole thing after the stuff last night are the ones downtown. All of Santa Ana continues operating just fine. But talking about the issue and how angry they are about it, our Orange County politician, 2nd District Supervisor Vicente Sarmiento had this to say just a little while ago. Listen.
To the federal administration, we demand that you take your militarized equipment and troops and stop occupying our communities immediately. Yesterday, I personally witnessed the efforts of ICE officers clearly intending to escalate what was a lawful and peaceful demonstration.
And back live here, you can see all the vehicles beginning to arrive and the crowd beginning to grow. A very peaceful crowd at this point, I do have to say. This is not the first time they've had rallies out here at Bristol and McFadden, and they can get quite large. But at this point, they have been very, very peaceful. Even the stuff going on downtown was loud in your face, but it never came to blows or anything like that. And if I can wear a Dodgers hat in this territory, and I'm not getting it, it's not so bad. But of course, we're going to have to see what happens later on. But generally, the situation here, people have been very peaceful, and we'll keep our eye on it. They're just making their voices heard. I'm Christina Gonzalez, live in Santa Ana. Back to you guys in the studio.
Noting Santa Ana being in Orange County and maybe not Dodger territory, or maybe. But anyway, Christina, we were on the news last night with the protesters pretty late into the night there in Santa Ana. We also talked about there being an ICE raid or two in Santa Ana and surrounding Orange County areas. What are you hearing about that, ICE operations there?
Yeah, I mean, the people that we talked to are telling us that they've had several raids out here, and that is what's bringing out people to the streets. And they've been going on for a while, and they're expecting more. And the reality is that, as you see, let me get out of the way again so you can see some of these people. One of the things we are hearing from people, and not only here, but in LA everywhere, is that they were told by their politicians that this is a sanctuary city, a sanctuary state, and that they would be safe. And the reality is that they're seeing people being picked up by federal authorities. So as much as local authorities are trying to do what they can, the reality is that they can't at least not the local authorities, stop those raids because they're federal. So people are saying, well, can anything stop it? And it's a question we're asking the politicians. What can they do? And the reality is that this is going to be a tough situation because the feds are saying they're going to continue these raids for a while. So it's difficult. It's difficult for them. But as far as we understand, they are continuing, yes.
Yeah, I mean, federal law supersedes state law, and the federal government has the right to do it, even though it's being challenged in court right now. We'll see what happens on that front. Can you talk, though, for a moment, for people that may not spend a lot of time in Santa Ana, about sort of the makeup of Santa Ana, such a proud Latino community, such an immigrant community?
Yeah, Santa Ana is a huge community, not only for Latinos. I may add, we're in Orange County. There's a huge Asian population out here. We actually had quite a few people asking us, have you heard anything? You know, because there's a lot of people afraid other than Mexican Americans or Latin Americans. But the population here is highly from all kinds of other countries. Santa Ana has always, if you go to the shopping district, you're going to have quinceañera stores, which is where you get your 15 dresses, and one after the other and the new stores like the Starbucks coming in. And it's been an old community, old-time Latino community. So, yeah, this is in Orange County. If there's going to be a flashpoint like LA would be in LA County, it probably would be Santa Ana, because of the makeup of the community. And hopefully it will not get to the point. I will say, when I went to downtown this morning, I did not see the kind of damage we saw in LA. People, yes, they spray painted some walls, and yes, they did trash the windows of the federal building, but nobody broke into any stores. That's why the businesses, but we do have fireworks, that's what those are, and they happen quite often. We're getting kind of used to them. But at this point, the businesses were not targeted like they were in Los Angeles, and hopefully that will remain the case here. That's what the protesters are hoping themselves for.
Well, we also did see the Santa Ana Police Department out there in force. We saw several people being detained on our air as well. And also we had the Sheriff's Department from Orange County that was there also. So I know we've been covering a lot of Los Angeles in our coverage in the past 4 or 5 days, but when we got to Orange County there, we got to see Orange County there kind of, you might say, in action and what was happening there. But there was a heavy police presence. Do you know about that, Christina?
Well, like the woman was saying, the owner of the pawn shop, I don't think this is going to get better before it gets worse. At least that's her perspective and many of the people here. If the raids don't stop, is what I am being told by people out here, these things are not going to stop. So we'll have to see what happens, because as LA does, other cities may follow in terms of how the protests grow. We'll have to see.
In the meantime, we might also want to get you an Angels hat. Go along with your Dodgers.
Exactly. Got to get repertoire.
I had it in the car. I've been digging it out because I also love the Angels. I just have to put something on right now, but hopefully by the next hit I'll find the Angels hat.
Okay. Yeah, we'll do it all. All right, Christina, thank you.